Like the evolution of the tipper grips, uh, I started out with a double-ended tipper, pretty good size ends on it, on an 18-inch drum, and it was called a carry style, which is now a term that's not in use. It's now double end. So these things change from time to time, but the Buron group in general is worldwide is generally particular about the terms they use. So anyway, but it's no longer carry. I guess they found out it had developed in several other areas besides carry, but you know, I don't even play this anymore, and I can't play it very well either, but see now, the great thing about this is you can get that triplet after a while, and that's pretty cool. You can use it on jigs and reels and. So anyway, there's a lot of people still use this. The sticks have evolved. Here's a stick that was in the process of evolving. You notice how the grip point has gone up a little bit. It's no longer in the center, but it's still a double-ended tipper. The other thing you notice is they get smaller. In fact, here's one that's really small, kind of skinny, almost what you'd call a top-end tipper. But these, if you buy a double-end tipper now, they're even smaller than this, and it helps accommodate some of the other styles. You can use a double-end style, and you can still use this kind of a tipper. So anyway, but after that, the double-end, like I said, double-end style is still current. A lot of people use it. After that became a style. It was known as a top-end style, which they generally used a skinny tipper like this. This is a fiddle bow tipper. It's a Seamus O'Kane. It's a Parambico or something. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but so the top-end thing was where you supposedly played at the top of the drum, and also it was a situation where you held it like a pin, but instead of holding in the center, it was moved up like at least 2/3 of the way up. So notice you can get the different tones without moving the place where you're hitting the drum. You can hit it up here, get the pop, and just by moving your hand, you get different tones. So anyway, the top end thing was pretty. That's what it was called. That was pretty predominant for a while, and that eventually changed to what they call a single-ended style. And the single-ended style still used basically the same kind of a tipper, and still held 2/3 of the way up, and in some cases, still held like a pin. There's other grips that also took over. Like for me, the style that I'm still playing right now is one where I put my two fingers on here, which is similar to the way you would hold a left-handed drumstick. Like in the left hand, of a drumstick when you're playing a drum set. You have those two fingers like that, and one back behind the stick, and that gives you some control. And I still use that. That's what I use probably most of the time. But there are two more grips that have come along. Actually, one grip, but it's been changed a little bit. And that's called a baby grip. And Martin O'Neill has used that. And it's basically where you hold the tipper between your thumb and first finger, and so it only has those two accent points, and it's basically and it's really good for single-ended triplets. I mean, you can play incredibly fast single-ended triplets, easier than the other one. Not so much, you get your wrist really loose. The one that I'm working on, which is used a lot now by most of the great players, is called a modified baby grip, and it's where instead of having it in between your thumb and first finger, you move it out and have it between your thumb and the first joint of your first finger, and that's what I've been using lately. I haven't completely switched over to it, but that's where I'm headed, and I don't know, it works. Was like all the All-Ireland champions for the last few years are using this modified baby grip. So, but all the other styles, I mean, there's people using them, and more importantly, there's people using combinations of those styles. I mean, you still get your double-ended triplet with the modified baby grip, the top end, or any of those. Terminology-wise, there's only two basic styles. It's double end, single end. But like I said, most players occasionally will at least get a double end triplet, even though they're predominantly a single end player. And so anyway, and then there's tons of other styles of holding a tipper out there. I mean, I saw a guy hold like this, which seemed awkward to me. It's where you have your second finger back behind. I mean, you got a really strong control, but it might not make your triplets. It might be a little harder to get. But and of course, there's people like Tommy Hayes that have been around forever that have their own unique style. The little short tipper that, and he's got some kind of a click with his fingers. I have not figured that out, but I mean, it works for him, and it sounds great. So anyway, there's tons of different ways of doing it, and I'm sure it'll change even more. In the future, it's just going to keep evolving. So anyway.